woman I know lost her son. This elderly woman I know lost her son last year. At first, I thought that she may not survive the grief because she was very close to the late son. Of all of her children, the late son, Leonard, was the one that was always around her. He took her for her hospital appointments, made her meals for her because she was on special diet. He was not the last child. In fact, she has 2 more daughters who were younger than the late Leonard, and 2 older sons. So it wasn't a case of being the last born or the only son. The deceased worked in a private firm, but somehow found a way to be present for their mother. The other children were equally present and were good to Mama, but it was obvious that it was Leo that could make her do certain things. When Mama gets so grumpy and not in the best of mood, just report her to Leonard, and she'll switch back to her normal self. So when Leonard suddenly slumped and died last year, everybody was afraid for Mama. But the elderly woman surprised everyone by taking the grief. She was the one who was comforting people who came to condole with her. During the burial, she was just seated at a corner, smiling at nothing and shaking her head intermittently. Leo died a bachelor, so his burial was swift and without fanfare. After the burial, one of her older sons took her to Lagos to stay with his family against her wish. All Mama wanted was to stay in the large family house where she raised all her kids before her husband's demise, and Leo's untimely passing, but her children refused, insisting that she needed a change of environment. And before you say Jack, Mama was already in her eldest son's house in Lagos. A nurse was hired to take care of her, and everything was going well, or so we thought. Need I mention that Mama's sons are financially okay, so there was no financial stress or burden on her. All they wanted was for her to get over the death of her son, who was also their brother, but Mama suddenly said that she wanted to go back to Abuja, to Old Kubwa where she lives. Her children persuaded her to spend more time with her son and her grandkids. But Mama kept whining that she wants to go back home. She became withdrawn, and stayed more in her room. She skipped meals and refused taking her drugs despite the effort of the nurse employed to care for her. Sadly, they woke up one morning to see that Mama had died. Her phone was beside her, and she had been dialing the late Leo's phone number for the greater part of the night. Leo is dead, and buried. His phone has been switched off and kept together with the rest of his belongings in Abuja. The reason why Mama suddenly started calling his number could be because she missed him a lot. Leo was not the wealthiest of all her children, but he was undoubtedly the closest to their mother. Suffice it to say that Leo was a very strong anchor that kept their mother going. So after his death, their mum gradually lost touch with life, and gradually slipped away to eternity. Maybe, Mama would have still been alive if Leo had not died. My point is, some people are the reason why the people in their lives/families are still alive. Once they are out of the picture, everything begins to fall apart.